Hello and welcome to highlights of stage one of the Itzulia Women's race. The hotly anticipated Tour of the Basque Country and the next stop on the Women's World Tour for 2022. 105.9 kilometers today from vitoria-gasteiz to La Bastida. Over the top of the final climb, it was Switzerland's Elise Schabe of Canyon SRAM that started a move. She was joined at the head of the race by Trek Segafredo's Lucinda Brand and Team SD Works riders Ashley Moolman-Pasio and Demi Vollering. Veronica Ewers and Liana Lippert had tried to get across. They were swept up by the chasing group that was being led by Brody Chapman of FDJ. They were heading towards the final intermediate sprint of the day at La Guardia. This would come with 26.7 kilometers to go. The chasing group still had the leaders in their sight. On the uphill sprint to the line, it was Lucinda Brand that took the important bonus seconds, just ahead of Demi Vollering. Both riders potential favourites for this three-day race. Team DSM, though, were doing a lot of work on the front of the bunch behind, and as they came towards the intermediate sprint, Liana Lippert had launched herself to try and get across the gap. Ultimately, though, this would spell the end of the day at the head of the race for those four riders. They, though, would not be done. As it came back together, right from the back of the group, it was New Zealand's Niamh Fisher-Black of Team SD Works that made a move, quickly covered by Floretia Mackay. Kristen Faulkner of Team Bike Exchange, the American, was the next rider to go. And while Amia Lusic and Muzik were in the gap behind, they would never make contact with the Bike Exchange rider. The route would rock and roll its way all the way into La Bastida and also an uphill sprint to the finish. Could Kristen Faulkner go solo all the way to the line? What a great couple of weeks she has had in Spain, with fourth in Navarra, third in Navarra. Could she make it first on the opening day in Itzulia? Paulina Royak has launched herself up the climb and Demi Vollering quickly joined her. This made three riders at the head of the race, and more importantly, three strong teams in Canyon SRAM, SD Works and Team Bike Exchange. It would be up to the likes of Team DSM and Team FDJ and EF Education First on the front of that group behind to try and get it back under control. As they went under the Flamme Rouge with 1 kilometer to go, the gap was sitting at 39 seconds. It was clear that the winner of the stage and the first leader's jersey of the race would go to this group. Royak has launched her move as they hit the narrow streets and the rise up towards the line. It would come down to a sprint between these two, with Demi Vollering taking the stage and the first yellow jersey, an important 10 bonus seconds. The sprint from the bunch behind, Anne Santesteban and Amanda Spratt from Team Bike Exchange up towards the front, as was Liana Lippert. In the sprint to the line, though, it would be Lippert that took the bunch sprint just ahead of the Spaniard. There's your top 10. So Demi Vollering takes the stage ahead of Paulina Royak and Kristen Faulkner. Lippert, Santesteban, Moolman-Pasio, Spratt, Schabe, Amia Lusic and Fisher-Black, your top 10. Big celebrations for Demi Vollering. Kicks off the Spanish stage race with a victory. Onto the podium, the winner of stage one. Always good to have that on your Palmares. The first ever winner for a new race on the Women's World Tour. The general classification looks like this going into stage two. 6 seconds between Vollering and Royak, as Faulkner at 10.50 to Lucinda Brand, 52 to Moolman-Pasio, and Vollering was back on the podium to pull on the first ever yellow jersey in Itzulia. Stage two will take the riders 117.9 kilometers starting and finishing in Malabia, with no fewer than 5 Category 3 climbs and the only Cat 1 climb of the race before we finish off on Sunday with a loop around San Sebastian.